Can you believe that this little balsam fir root started this fire? This is not the thickest root either, but it works. You have to have technique. Watch and learn and enjoy the video. It's time to get dirty. Let's see if we can dig up a root. The soil has warmed up enough for me to dig, so that gives me a chance of actually finding a root that's usable. Just keep digging until you find it. Dig, dig, dig. This is a broken stick I'm using, so that's a simple tool. No need to get a knife dirty or anything like that. Ooh, I think we're on to something. Here we go. There we go. This one's kind of thick. Good. Seems like once you find one root, you find more. So they're superficial in the ground, so they're close to the surface of the ground, so that's definitely good for me. Now we're getting somewhere. This root looks a little on the small side, but they're surprisingly strong, and you have to know how to use them right. That makes a world of difference. I think this is the thin end right here, but I want to keep it as long as I can. Sometimes they go underneath other roots. You just have to work around them. It helps to take your time to dig, loosen up the soil, find where it's going, follow it, and keep going. I have to go under another so I don't break it. Well, that broke, but I might have something usable there. But if the roots break, then you don't want them. They're not going to help you. They have to be strong. Sometimes you get amazed at what you find. I have one here that's still attached. I'm going to bury these, clean up the area when I'm done, but I want to get this other little root. We'll keep tracing this root down. This might be the root that gets it done. There we go. All right. Let's give it a try. Let's give this root a try. I'm going to take the thicker end this time. I'm going to make an overhand knot on the end. Leave a little bit of extra. And I'm going to make another overhand knot. You may remember this from my survival knot video. And that little knot's going to keep things from sliding off. So, 2 overhand knots. That's going to be my start. Take my spindle. And I'm going to wrap it around twice. Okay. I'll give a little bit of an angle there. And then now I know the wrap around here. So that's going to be the part I wrap around with the excess. And I'm going to use hand tension to keep it on. So, time to give it a shot. Now the root can snap and break, but I'm going to burn this spindle in as best I can until the root breaks, or I burn in the fireboard. If it breaks, I'm going to get another root. It's kind of how it works. You just keep going until you win. Alright, so that's snapped already, but that was the thinner part of the root, so it doesn't bother me. I'm going to make a knot in this end until it holds. Another overhand knot. Okay, definitely going to use hand pressure this time. So, because the root's getting short, I'm going to do a single wrap. And I'm going to use the knot by my pinky. So that's going to be my grip. Or I'll put it between the pinky and the ring finger. Just something that feels secure. Now I can try to drill, and it breaks. Turns out that other route was available. I didn't realize that I still had a good end on it. So, once again, kind of work it around a little bit. Kind of train the root to be bent and flexible. And do the overhand knot. Make another overhand knot. Now I have my tying method. That's going to secure the root to the top of the bow. It feels like I'll break the root if I try to do too much bending at the bottom, so that's alright. I'll wrap it around once, use some hand tension to keep it on. Time to burn in this spindle. Want to make sure you can see. Burning the spindle and the fireboard. All right, smoke. Switch holes for less friction. All right, we're getting a good burn in going now. I like what I see. I'm seeing powder. There we go. There we go. That's looking pretty good. All right. You can see how this socket is burning in. Good thing I have another one. I'm going to carve the notch. Time to carve the notch. Usually I like to burn in a spindle and use another hole because it usually gets too worn down, but this one didn't get too worn down with the burn in this time, so I can use it. I'll carve this notch. I'm using my Mora knife, something you haven't seen me use yet. It's simple, but quite effective. There's a little splinter I want out. Okay. Put that knife away. I could get another root, but I'm going to see what this one will do for me. I'm drilling at an angle with the bow so the bow string doesn't rub on itself. That's a big deal. Because if the bowstring rubs on itself, it breaks. Just like that. But that's okay. I'll dig up another root. Still cold enough that we have ice. So, I'm going to make an ice socket. This one seems to fit the hand good. This one even better. Okay. Let's get this going. A little bit of a starter hole in here. Nothing too intense. Alright. Get that knife away. Once it's clean and dry. Okay, time for action. Get everything set. Got my socket ready. Got my double wrap on the bowstring. Just going to do it again. Train it a little bit. Make sure I roll it so it's used to doing what it needs to do. Kind of wrap it in my fingers, get a nice grip on the bow. And I'll go like this. I'm going to squeeze the bow tight. Now I'm looking for an ember. So I'm making 3 little knots at the end of the bowstring. And it's time to do this. Got to build up the powder. All right, success. There's our ember. Now it's time to follow through with the flames. This ember is going to go in some cattail fluff. My hand's a little damp from the ice, but I'll use the dry part of my hand. I'll establish the ember in the cattail fluff. And then go for the grass. There we go. There's some flames. There's some good start to a fire. All right. This is where the balsam fir root come in handy. I'm very happy with that. And this ground is like a little frost. You can kind of see how it's still kind of frozen. There's a little bit of ice in there. So I was fortunate that I can dig in the ground at this time of year. It's early spring, but there's still snow around. The balsam fir root bowstring came in handy. Now sometimes I get these really long, but you can see this bowstring isn't really too thick, but it got the job done. If it was longer, I wanted to wrap it around the second fork in the bow here, or I could have put it in a reinforced split. If I had a bow like that, I could split it and reinforce it with a root, and that will hold. There's many options though. This one I was fortunate enough to be able to get it done with hand tension. And there's the knot here, and if I squeeze tight, the knot doesn't slide through my fingers. So it is possible. You might think, oh, I lost my chance for fire, but it's cattail fluff, so I definitely get my second chance if I need it. I'll just get more grass or other kindling. So I'm still alive and still in the game. So that's how it's done with the root bowstring early spring. In the summer it's going to be a lot easier, but for now you use what you get. You use what's available. the diameter of the spindle makes a big difference. Because it's thicker, there's less strain on the bowstring, because the bowstring has to have a bigger loop when we do that. So a bigger loop is less strain on the bowstring. Now, if the loop is tighter and smaller, that puts increased strain on the bowstring, and we don't want that, because that means the bowstring is going to break. So that's one good thing to know. You can't get away with that really with a root bowstring, but if you know how to use what you have, you can survive. Also, I carved down the business end, so it's about a thumb thick. So we're still keeping within the normal parameters of what we do. So if I need to carve down more, I can keep carving this down and keeping it thumb thick. But I want the body of the spindle to be thicker. Not everything is going to be as perfect and as ideal as we would like. Say for instance, the root bowstring, it's strong, but strong enough to get a fire and an ember, but well, it can break. So that's where it comes into this angled drilling. So I like to drill with my bow down at an angle so the string doesn't rub on itself, like you can see here. So the string's rubbing on itself. So that's what we don't want. So downward, the string does not rub on itself. Second, the ice. If I'm here, you can almost see water dripping down. So I'm going to angle the spindle and the socket, so if water does drip, it's not going to drip onto the notch in the fireboard. So that's what I'm looking for. A nice grip always helps. I like to blow a little bit to give the ember oxygen. So that's what I'm doing there. So when you hear that and see that, you know what's going on. This little root is still working. We're going to see if we get another ember out of it. It's coming. Oh, we got another ember. All right. And the ice didn't put the ember out because I had it angled. All right. Put my finger on the fireboard, lift my foot, let that ember grow, and we have the possibility of making another fire if we want. But the second part's always important, because you got to make sure you have enough good fine kindling to blow that ember into a flame, a bunch of flames. So you shouldn't just stop here. I'm going to go find some kindling real quick and make that happen.